Hello. This podcast will be a bit different to the ones we have released so far. For a start, there are only 2 items on it, one of them being the conclusion of Kevin Lee Robinson's audio drama, Treeline. But first, here is a report about the divisive subject of the proposal for a canal arm into the town centre. I will be playing only the first 20 minutes of the report, but the full version of it can be heard on the Daventry Radio YouTube channel.
You're listening to Daventry Radio, connecting your community.
You may have noticed that in recent years there has been a newfound interest in pleasure boating on the UK inland waterways. The medium of television has certainly capitalised on it.
I'm Prunella Scales.
And I'm Timothy West.
Back in March 2014, the actors and self-confessed canal nuts, Timothy West and Prunella Scales, presented a series called Great Canal Journeys.
Across Britain, there's a hidden...
Almost immediately following on from the success of their programme, John Sargent, the former BBC reporter and Strictly Come Dancing contestant, presented a series on ITV where he explored some of Britain's most popular canal routes and delved into their history.
BBC 4 goes slow.
And on the 5th of May last year, BBC 4 produced a one-off programme called All Aboard the Canal Trip. All 3 of these programmes became unexpected hits. I interviewed Lorna York, a local canal historian and the chairperson of the Stoke Bruin Museum. I asked her, why does there appear to have been a new surge of interest in the canal lifestyle?
When the canals originally were built, they were owned privately. They were privately run companies. Up until the last 50 years, the general public were not allowed on the towpath. The only people that were allowed on the towpath were the people working the boats, the people that maintained the canal. And then in the 1940s, they were nationalised and run by the government. It is now run by Canal and River Trust, which is a charity. And they want to open the canals up to everybody to enjoy. Not just the boaters, not just the fishermen, but everybody to come and enjoy the canal.
Now, I think it's fair to say that the narrowboat is an old-fashioned means of travelling. Why is it important to preserve this old way of life?
It's not an old way of life. It's a continuing way of life. It evolves. The canals were built as a commercial highway. They have now become a leisure industry. People who have money can buy a boat, but most people can't do that. But they can hire a boat. And you can have a holiday on a canal. And it's a way of unwinding. It's a slower pace. You can't go above 4 miles an hour, which is walking pace. So what better way of seeing the countryside? You're on your little house. You're taking it with you. You can moor up anywhere you want within certain reason and stop overnight. And then the next day you carry on. And you've got a different garden the next night to look out on.
The Daventry District Council has long been in the process of planning to embrace this growing phenomenon. In 2011, the DDC applied for full planning permission for a new canal arm of approximately 1.62 miles long, extending northwards from the Daventry town centre. The development will include a marina, with complementary leisure, residential, office and community uses. The idea originally came from the late former councillor for Woodford House, David Griffin. He passed away at the age of 73 back in 2013. I asked his wife, Councillor Elizabeth Griffin, how did his idea for the canal arm come about?
I think when he read Daventry Pass by Greenall, there was a mention of a canal arm in there. And when he was at Gloucester Docks Museum, he found the chart for the Daventry Canal Arm, which he was very surprised about and delighted. He said to me, do you think I ought to take this into planning department? And I laughed and I said, oh, well, they might be interested. And he did. They were extremely interested.
Was he interested in the canal lifestyle before he put this proposal forward?
Oh yes. By that time we no longer had a canal boat, but over the years we've had 3. And he was one of those chaps obsessional about railways and canals. In fact, that's why we moved to Woodford Horse when we came up here, because it was a railway village.
What would it mean to you to see your husband's idea come to fruition?
Well, I'd be delighted. He would have been delighted and amazed. Unfortunately, he's never going to know.
This is not the first time the idea of a canal arm into Daventry has been proposed. The route of this prospective canal arm will emulate the one that was proposed in 1793 by an Act of Parliament for the Grand Junction Canal, now known as the Grand Union. I asked Lorna York, why was this canal arm never constructed?
I don't know exactly why it was never completed, but there are 2 theories. One, there wasn't enough money. The council may not have wanted it at the time. There may have been other objections from landowners, they couldn't buy the land and so on. And the other may have been there wasn't enough water. There are 2 reservoirs at Daventry, but they feed the main canal.
I interviewed the leader of the Conservative Party on the Daventry District Council, Councillor Chris Miller, and I asked him how will this new proposal differ from the original.
The idea of the canal arm, this is all part of a wider economic agenda to make Daventry an extremely attractive destination to come and visit. You may have seen from our town centre master planning that we're proposing a water space area along Eastern Way, of which the canal arm will come into that water space from the Grand Union down that 1.5 miles basically of canal arm down into the town centre. But also we're looking to also put in an iconic boat lift, which actually will be, instead of having locks, would be a national attraction, we believe. We looked at the Falkirk Wheel and realised the number of visitors it attracts every year, which my last count was 400,000 plus visitors a year to the Falkirk Wheel. So you can imagine the potential for having such an iconic feature in the centre of England, where many people might want to come and visit, and therefore be great news for jobs, great news for the local economy. So the knock-on effects are really tremendous.
But not all the councillors are for this proposal. I interviewed Mayor and Labour councillor Wendy Randall. Why are you against the proposal for the canal arm?
The main reason is it'll be a complete loss of that green space. I've yet to see a business plan. I think it's going to end up costing us money. They've already spent over 1.2 million on it, and I cannot see what it's going to bring to Daventry.
Where will the money come from to develop this proposal?
Well, lots of this money will come from developers. I mean, the point is about the canal arm. The feasibility study was done many moons ago, and the point about the feasibility study is very, very important to make sure, A, it can be done. It's one thing having an idea, but if the idea can't be done, you better find out pretty quickly. So we did a proper feasibility study which showed that the canal arm could be built, and it could be done at a reasonable cost. I mean, we could put money up front, but we get the benefit out of the developments that are going to occur later on to pay for it. So it won't come out of the preset to people. Some people sort of imagine this is going out of the council tax. This is not coming out of the council tax. The capital spend of building the canal arm will not come out of the precept, so I won't want people to believe that's the case. We have a low precept anyway, so we couldn't actually fund it from that route. So we are going to fund it by developer contributions long term.
I'm out and about all the time listening to what people have got to say. Nearly everybody I come across is against this proposal. Now, I'm elected by the people to be the voice. When I first got elected, residents would say to me on the doorstep, what can you do for us if we vote for you? And I said, in the council chamber, I'll be quite honest, absolutely nothing, because of the huge majority of the Conservatives. But what I will do is any time there is an issue where something's going to affect the people of this town, I will raise it. So whether that be in the paper, or whether it be on the radio, or whether it be newsletter, or protesting, whatever it may be, so as I let the people be aware of what's going on.
How many people have signed the petitions against this proposal so far?
We've got about 1,200 signatures on, some are online and some are paper copies, but we're getting phone calls every day saying, can we have a paper copy because, my neighbours are against this, or I'm going to a group today and they're against the canal. I've had many people absolutely outraged by this, especially people that have lived in the town, and that are retired, because they remember that the reason the outdoor pool was built was because of the drowning of the poor children in Daventry Reservoir. They are still so furious that the council, took away their pool for something that the people paid for.
Councillor Miller, according to the results of a parish poll which took place in 2010, 76% of the people voted against the proposal for the canal arm. So naturally I have to ask, why has this overwhelmingly negative response from the people not deterred you and fellow supporters from continuing with the proposal?
Well, you've got to be very careful when you use poll results like that. If I remember rightly, that poll was a one-way poll. There was not two arguments put forward, and therefore sometimes people will just vote a certain way. If people lobby them for a signature or lobby them for a poll result, we don't like the canal arm because of X, Y, Z. If you're going to conduct a proper poll, you've got to have all the information available. You've got to extol the benefits of what we're trying to do to actually achieve our aims. We have to so that has to be part of the poll. Now, my understanding on that poll, and correct me if I'm wrong, was it's a very one-sided information put out. It's basically set up to be a no poll. And if you look at the numbers who actually participated across the whole district population, it's a very small number, and the town population actually. So what I'm trying to say here is, I listen to a poll when I think the poll has been conducted in a fair and balanced way, that all the information has been put out there for people to actually understand what the reasons are. And I can tell you now, there's a lot of people I've spoken to who fully understand those reasons and support the canal arm. There may be a silent majority, but there are people out there certainly who do support it in a big way.
Councillor Randall, Councillor Chris Miller told me that the parish poll was a one-way poll and that two arguments were not put forward. Is this true?
What two arguments weren't put forward?
Why we should have the canal arm and why we shouldn't.
Okay, should it have been the parish that had done that poll, or should it actually have been the district council that actually done a poll on the people? The parish poll, I wasn't on the parish council at that time, but I know that I went along to vote, and it was the turnout for that, because it was only open for a few hours. It's the first time I've ever had to queue out of the door, and the doors had to close when people still wanted to vote. So it was about, here, did you want the canal? Yes or no? What else was we supposed to be asking people? That's quite simple. Same as when I go to the polling station, do you want Labour? Do you want Conservative? You put an X in the box. So it wasn't, what other argument was there going to be? And why didn't they do an alternative argument? I'd like them to do a poll now.
Do you think there should be a public consultation?
Well, definitely. Because we really need to know what the people want. People still of this town do not fully know what the plans are. Some people you speak to some people in this town, they don't even know about the canal arm.
Now, Councillor Alan Hills had a letter published in the Daventry Express on the 31st of December, where he said, "We cannot allow political opposition." Is this remark, in your opinion, Councillor Miller, worthy of a mature democracy?
Well, I don't know what context Alan said that in, so I'm not in a position to comment. I'd be very surprised if we can't have opposition, because that just doesn't work that way, does it? We all live in a democratic society and we have opposition. So I'm not sure what context Alan said that.
Opposition against this proposal for the canal arm?
Well, I'm not sure what context. He said, I haven't seen the letter, well, I can't remember the letter. He said he cannot, so just say what he said.
We cannot allow political opposition.
What, to the canal arm? Well, I don't understand it, because clearly we have political opposition, so when he says we cannot have opposition, I don't understand why. He may not agree with the opposition, that maybe that's what he's trying to say. Because we don't agree with the opposition. This is the truth about the economic agenda here. I think the most important thing for me in Daventry Town at the moment is we have an administration, Conservative administration, because that's what it's about, who are trying to build a long-term strong economic base for the town and area. And I don't mind opposition. And opposition, you have to accept opposition. I have opposition in my group even. We discuss things thoroughly and try and get the best conclusion. And I always go with the best conclusion. What I find interesting about some of the opposition we're receiving, especially on the canal arm, is they have no alternative. They have no sustainable alternative as an, to try and boost the economy. And this is about boosting the local economy for better jobs. And I think with those better jobs and better economy, you're going to get better education facilities, and all round it's a win-win. And if you're not careful, if you just have what I call opposition for opposition's sake, you will actually find that will do damage to the town rather than long-term, rather than do any good, in my personal view.
Back in December, during one of the full Daventry District Council meetings, one of the councillors accused you of not only being negative about the canal arm proposal, but about the town in general. How do you feel about that?
I often get that remark said to me that you're just negative about everything that we do here. When I speak to people out and about, they'll say what they do here. Actually, look at all the things that we've lost. Our town's grown, and rather than having extra, we have lost things. We've lost our outdoor pool, we've lost our pitch and putt, they now want to take away our green space, we've lost so much play equipment that was on the estates when they were built. There's hardly anything for teenage children to do. So when I'm told I'm negative, I say that I'm negative because when I moved to this town 31 years ago, it was a very pretty, well looked after, loved town that I could walk up that high street and there'd be loads of people up and down the high street all the time. Some days I walk up that high street, there's not a soul in sight. The town is scruffy and it's just become neglected and unloved. So if I'm negative about that, I definitely am negative about that.
Need I remind you, Councillor Miller, of the tragic incidents of the 5 children who drowned in the Drayton Reservoir? Can you ensure us that the canal arm, if it is built, would be a safe water space?
Well, I wasn't around obviously back in those days, and it was a tragedy which obviously led to the outdoor pool. We now have an indoor pool that's open all year round, and that's a great facility for people who want to go and swim there. In terms of water space and accidents, we had a very tragic accident only recently on one of our bin men was tragically killed. You can never say never in life, can you? You can never say that things can't go wrong. But if people treat water with respect, there should be hopefully no problems whatsoever. And the water, of course, the canal arm is not very deep, and so hopefully nothing like that will ever occur. One can never guarantee everything because that's life. Things can come out of the blue.
What would be, in your opinion, a better means of attracting visitors to the town?
Well, we all know, and I will say the Conservatives absolutely hate me bringing up this one because there is always uproar in council when I mention the outdoor pool. But that outdoor pool brought tourists in from Coventry and afar. I met a lady the other day who said to me that she used to cycle from Coventry with a group of friends to the outdoor pool through the summer. And I'm like, wow. So it's that sort of attraction. It's a leisure attraction that I find bring people into this town. Bandstand, I could just imagine a bandstand, and we could have perhaps a concrete shed where you could lock deck chairs in, but actually you might have a jazz afternoon and you could go and hire your deck chair and sit around and listen to the music. And I would like to see a splash zone area where you see lots of these in different shopping areas now where the water squirts out and the children run through, because it doesn't matter if it's hot or cold. Children absolutely love water, so whether they've got their wellies on and their Raymac or their shorts and t-shirts, just for fun, we could have a quiet area. We've got 5 schools there that if they wanted to do some after school homework, they might want to sit there quietly, or somebody taking their lunch break might want to actually sit somewhere that's quiet. But there could be so much down on that area that would be for the good of the people in the town and bring many, many visitors in.
But a boat lift has been proposed. It's been compared to the Falkirk Wheel and the Angel of the North. Surely something as monumental as that, an engineering feat of that scale, would draw people into Daventry.
The Falkirk Wheel serves a purpose. It actually lifts the boat from one canal and places it in another. That actually would save a 4-hour ongoing journey Who on earth is going to pay to have their boat lifted into a tiny little bit of water, and for what? What have we got in our... I love this town, but it's a scruffy little town. What are people going to come here for? I met a lady last week and she was actually on holiday on her boat. She had moored at Braunston and they thought they would take a walk in through the footpath into Daventry. And she said to me, "What is here?" She said, "I wish I hadn't bothered." Now, how sad is that?
A build-up of pollution in the canal is something else which could become dangerous to the public. The Canal and River Trust have 500 pollution incidents reported to them every year, costing them between 50 and 50,000 each to resolve. What will there be in place to prevent the canal from being polluted?
Well, those sort of detailed questions can be answered when the application comes in full. I can assure you that all these points about making sure canals aren't polluted will be taken seriously and addressed. Mitigating effects will be put in place. One thing I also have to say, though, is that people have to also do their bit. You talked about, accidents can occur when people aren't being very careful. Likewise, when people throw stuff into the canal, all that sort of stuff, it's down to individuals' behaviour. And I'd like to see that some fairly strong penalties are put in place to try and deter people from doing that. Because clearly, I think if you respect your area, if everyone respects the area, then the area will stay nice. Once the area starts to go down, then that's where we have problems. So I like to think it's a general responsibility for all of us to make sure that the canal A doesn't get polluted from local rubbish being thrown in it, but equally it's up to the authorities to make sure no other pollutants get into the waterway.
In the full version of that report, Councillor Chris Miller answers some of the questions which were put forward to him from people on the Daventry Radio Facebook page. I report on the anti-canal arm protest march which took place on the 16th of this month, and I interview some local boaters to ask them how they feel about the canal arm proposal. Now, here is the concluding part of Kevin Lee Robinson's audio drama, Treeline.
Thirteen Media Arts presents Treeline by Kevin Lee Robinson. See? He's back. He does that. He goes away and comes back. God knows what he does. What does he do out there? Why does he... He comes back. Johnny! Go away, please! What do you want? To come in out of the cold? What? Night after night, scratching away. You walked out into the snow, Johnny. I looked for you. I tried, but then I needed to survive. I couldn't survive in the cold. I didn't want to die. Is that what you want? Is it? For me to join you out there? Not happening. I am going to stay alive. Stop tormenting me. I am going to survive. Door. Is it the door? He never tries the door. Did I lock it? Is it bolted? Bloody hell and damnation, I forgot. Ow! Oh, sod in bed again! Johnny, please, leave me alone. I'm sorry you died and I survived, but I needed to live. I don't want to see you again. Please, please.
Dom. Oh my God, is that you, Dom?
What? Who are you? Take off the ski mask. Mina? Mina!
Oh God, you're alive!
Oh.
I mean, after all these months.
I dreamt of you. I missed you. I love you. And here you are, and all I can think of is, oh, my breath must really stink.
Dom, I've missed you so much. I mean, beyond words, I've missed you. And yes, your breath stinks, but I don't care.
How did you get here?
I came by dog team. There's an outpost, a meteorological station. It's only about 10 miles. I wanted to see the crash site. Dominic, they said you were dead. They said you couldn't survive. I wanted to see for myself so I could, I don't know, let you go, move on. I was heading out there, but the weather turned, so I was going to go back, but then I found this place. I thought I could spend the night and then make the final trek to the wreckage tomorrow. I wanted to find it, you see. Well, you died, I mean. I couldn't give you a proper burial. They never recovered the bodies. There was a fire. The fuel burned so hot that there was no way of identifying remains. I just wanted to see where it happened.
It did burn. But I was sort of flung out before it happened. The plane broke up. I remember it doing that, and then the seats were sliding in the snow, and here I am, alive and well.
But how? How have you survived all this time?
The freezer. Lots of food. Heaters? Look, I have heat. Hey, it takes more than a bit of Arctic cold and a plane crash to kill me.
They told me it was impossible. That there was no way you could...
Well, I did. How about it? Dinner on me. Steak, chicken, even some venison in here.
I'm a vegetarian, remember?
Oh, what? Oh, yes. Sorry. Of course you are. That's all I have.
I have some food on the sled. Fresh veg. Even some tins of fruit.
Fruit? Oh, my sweet lord, fruit. I'll come with you and give you a hand.
Yeah.
And then we'll get through the night and leave in the morning, yes. Wait. Of course. The night. Mina, we need to leave now.
Now? What? Why? It's not possible. It's dark. Why risk the cold when we can rest up here?
Trust me, we need to go.
Why?
Did you see anything on the way in?
See?
See, yes.
Well,
something outside.
No.
Someone outside.
I saw shapes in woods. Wolves or a bear. What do you mean, someone? Dominic, what happened to everybody else?
They died in the crash.
Everyone? There were 10 people on that plane.
Almost everyone. Johnny survived as well. Almost survived.
Almost?
He died. Later. Only he didn't. How do I put this? He didn't go away.
Dom, make sense, please.
He's out there.
Alive? But I don't understand.
No, not alive. Just not...
Dom, you're not making sense.
He did die, but he came back.
What?
He comes to the hut, scratching at the walls. When you arrived, I thought...
Are you joking? You mean like a ghost?
I suppose, yes. A ghost is as good a description as any.
Don't be ridiculous.
I saw him. The first time he came, I thought he was alive, so I opened the door and there he was, flickering in and out like a candle flame. Oh. I could see him quite clearly at times. He has bits missing.
What?
I think that when he wandered out, he must have been attacked. I see bears sometimes. I think, well, big shapes in the trees anyway. Wolves, maybe, like you saw. They must have found him and they...
No.
He has bits missing. There. You hear him? There he is.
The wind.
No.
An animal, then.
No, it's Johnny.
Are you winding me up? If you are, it's a sick joke, Dom.
No joke. It's him.
Dom, you've been here a long time, alone. It's not real. You've made this up. Survivor guilt, maybe. Your mind is playing tricks. The dead do not come back.
The scratching?
Like you said, an animal. Look, I need to feed the dogs. You said you had meat, right, in the freezer?
Yes, over there.
Well, how's this? I'll take some of that meat you have and throw it out as a distraction for anything out there. Then I'll go feed the team and grab some of that fruit you wanted. We'll let the dogs rest for a few hours and then leave, okay?
Mina, he's out there!
You'll see. Now, where's this meat? It's empty.
What?
There's nothing in here. It's not even plugged in.
No, it was full.
What have you been eating?
Stay. Please, stay.
It's okay, I'll be back. Honestly.
Stay inside, Mina, please.
I need to see what that is.
Stay inside, please. You don't want to see it, Mina. Mina! Oh, thank God! There you are. Please, just come back inside.
Why, Dom? What is it that's out here?
It's him, Johnny.
What?
It's horrible what he's become.
Dom, I haven't seen anything. Are you sure? Wait. Look. There. Oh my God, is that a body? In the snow? Half buried, but it is. It's a body.
Mina, don't, please.
I can't see the face. Help me turn it over. Dom, help me.
No, I can't. I can't see it.
You can't look. What is it you don't want to see?
Johnny. Oh, God. No. Please, Johnny, no.
Come and look.
Mina! Mina!
She isn't here, Dom. She never was. There's just me and you. I was your friend. Dom, we went to school together. Remember? That holiday in Ibiza. Remember that, Dom? Remember the car we were going to do up together? I was going to be your best man. Remember? What did you do? What was it that you did, Dominic?
I survived.
How?
Anyway, every way, the only way.
Look.
Johnny, please, no.
Look.
It's not you. It's... How can...
It's you, Dom. This is where you died. After you killed me and you ate me to stay alive for a few measly days more. This is where your desperate need to survive ended. Out here alone in the snow.
Mina!
No, Mina. Just you and me in this lost little hut in the middle of this cold place. You thought dying would be the end of it. That if you died, I would be satisfied. Leave you alone in peace. So you came out here to meet me. Remember now? I showed you the wounds, showed you how you survived. And then you sat here and died to make me leave you alone. Well, it wasn't enough. Now there's just us and this hut and all this cold and all this snow and the long wait until they find us and see what you did. Just us, Dom. Just you, me, and the trees.
Diary of Dominic Wells. Message from Mina Sutton. I miss you. The date is, middle of January-ish? I'm not altogether sure, so call it the day after my last recording. Although in fairness, I'm not sure that I could remember the date yesterday either, so just work back to the last actual date and start from there. Did I say that yesterday? I may have done. You see, Mr. Diary, the problem is that when you are stuck in a hut in a part of the world that has months on end of virtual night for a big part of the year, time sort of slips away from you. Everything is sort of repeated. Treeline featured Chris Burdett as Dominic Wells, Mina Sutton was played by Orla Rose, and Johnny Dunlop was played by Joseph Derrington. Treeline was recorded at Creative Folk Studios and engineered by Four Eyes. This audio drama is a 13 Media Arts production, bringing new worlds to the world.
13 Media Arts.
Thank you for listening to another half an hour-ish podcast from Daventry Radio.